The evangelical vote has belonged to the Republican Party for decades. But this year, some are having trouble reconciling their Christian values with Donald Trump's unholy language. ABC's Terry Moran is giving us a look into the spiritual divide in our election countdown series, Inside the Final 30.
He'll be a friend to people of faith in this country.
No, I'm casting my hat with them and not with the demagogue.
There's disgust on both sides.
I can't just brush off Trump's comments as locker room talk.
For evangelical Christians across America, this election has caused a schism.
It saddens my heart because the church is a place of unity because of Christ.
For decades, white evangelicals have been a bastion of Republican support, but the top of the GOP ticket this year, Donald J. Trump, has many of the faithful at an impasse.
I don't know what I said.
Such a nasty one.
Sunday morning, Dallas, going to church, the Fellowship Church. Pastor Ed Young. Ed Young has said it's a choice between like being stabbed or being shot for evangelicals. Good morning.
We'd have a good time as we celebrate our good guy. Come on.
Ed Young leads the more than 20,000 members of the Fellowship Church. Young, diverse, cool, hipster Christianity.
It's all about Jesus. Would you pray with me?
Good for the soul, for sure, but we're here to talk about the presidential campaign.
It's a sad commentary on our culture that these are the two that we're left with.
Evangelical Christians voting their values.
The economy is a huge focus for us.
Pro-life would be an important issue for me.
I have to choose the candidate that best reflects biblical and godly principles.
I, Ronald Reagan.
It's made them in past elections a crucial GOP constituency, from Ronald Reagan to George W. Bush. But for many of the faithful, some of what they've seen and heard from Donald Trump has been hard to stomach.
It's disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
But there's disgust on both sides.
So what's a Christian to do?
I think as Christians, we should vote for the platform and not the person.
Pastor Young has not publicly supported the candidate and says he would not use his ministry to do so.
So if Donald Trump had called you up and said, I'm putting together this team of pastors. He did?
Yes, he has.
Did he call you up?
Uh-huh. Not himself, but some of his people.
What'd they say? What'd they say?
They wanted me to attend this rally and this group, and I just politely said no.
Why?
I just don't want to be in a situation where vote for Obama, vote for Donald Trump. I want to be able to talk about Jesus.
But for all their ambivalence and angst about this election, they've made up their minds.
Come on, you guys. You're going to vote for Trump. Right?
Yes.
Yes. You're Trump. You're Trump.
900 miles away, across the Bible Belt in Easley, South Carolina, near Greenville, a town with fewer people than Pastor Young preaches to on any given Sunday, there's a very different kind of church. The Harvest Praise and Worship Center.
Get me to the church on time here. That's a house church. This is a Christianity began in house churches.
It is home to Pastor Mark Burns.
Pastor Burns.
Hey, sir.
Terry Moran.
Mark Burns.
Very nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Hello, Republicans!
Unlike Ed Young, Pastor Burns accepted Donald Trump's invitation and quickly became one of the Trump campaign's go-to pastors, delivering a fiery speech at the Republican National Convention.
Help me elect the next president of the United States of America!
His church may be small, but Pastor Burns' reach is wide.
Here, we just have a small church studio where we do a lot of Christian television, so a large part of our audience is on TV.
This is the colors that unite.
There he is.
Yep, that is the man.
Burns is one of the few African-American pastors publicly supporting Donald Trump.
Under a Donald Trump administration, all lives matter!
Did you pay a price as a black leader for meeting with Donald Trump and supporting him?
I don't want to say pay a price, but we did go through some battles.
We're political, but we also believe in the power of prayer, and we're going to pray for you live right here, right now.
Burns doesn't believe supporting Trump conflicts with his faith.
Do you think Donald Trump has God on his mind and heart as he campaigns and as he looks towards governing if he wins?
Understand this. I don't believe Donald Trump is qualified to lead anybody's church. I don't believe Donald Trump is qualified to even lead a Bible study. But do I believe he talks to God in reference to the direction of our country? I could say absolutely yes.
Have you ever asked God for forgiveness? I'm not sure I have. I just go and try and do a better job from there. I don't think so.
Donald Trump once said he's never asked God for forgiveness.
Sure. Well,
that sounds un-Christian to me.
What Donald Trump was trying to say was that I don't want to bring God in the mix of my failure. I want to try to do it right. I want to make it right to you. I'm not going to just make it spiritual and then still do you wrong.
But other evangelical Christians not only disagree, they feel a moral imperative to speak out.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Whatever you want. Grab them by the...
In a scathing op-ed in Christianity Today, which is one of the top evangelical magazines, they proclaimed, quote, "Enthusiasm for a candidate like Donald Trump gives our neighbors ample reason to doubt that we believe Jesus is Lord."
You saw Christian women leaders who don't typically weigh in on politics starting to weigh in and coming forward.
For Caitlin Beatty, an editor at Christianity Today, and for many others commenting on social media, it was the last straw.
I'm one among many women sexually abused, misused, stared down, heckled, talked naughty to, like we liked it. We didn't. We're tired of it. As a victim of sexual assault, I tell you firsthand of devastation wreaked on women and girls by predatory men and boys who think women like it.
Even after the tape and much else, Trump still enjoys the fervent loyalty of some of the top evangelical leaders in this country.
I'm concerned when I see these leaders continuing to support Trump that they are actually forsaking their responsibility to uphold the dignity of women for political expedience.
In the very red state of Kentucky, at the very conservative Christian Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, Dr. Denny Burke is pulling no punches.
You've heard of Donald Trump as Mussolini. Guess you don't like him much.
Yeah, I think he's demagogic.
In his blog, Burke has called Trump an extinction-level event, writing, he must never be allowed near the Oval Office, ever.
He already has divided conservatives, not just people who are politically conservative, but religious conservatives.
But for most, a choice must be made.
You going to vote?
I'm going to vote, yeah.
Who are you going to vote for? Do you know?
I know I'm not voting for.
Either one of the two major party candidates.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Christian conservatives in this country who might be listening to you and say, traitor. What do you say to them?
Well, to fellow Christians, brothers and sisters, religious conservatives who are concerned about the unborn, I think they're right to be concerned about that, and I share it. And what you have is a lot of people kind of looking at two dumpster fires and trying to figure out which one's burning a little less brightly.
Not very inspirational, but for most Americans, that's just campaign 2016. For Nightline, I'm Terry Moran in God's country.